jumping that a student sent me, and I figured I can just send him this answer, but also post it for anybody else who's interested. So when did you first discover rocket jumping in Quake?
Pretty soon after the game was released, when people were playing it and posting some demo files of them playing Quake, and watched the demo files and saw them blasting themselves up in the air. I was like, no way. Oh my God. And then it wasn't long after that people started to finish the levels like at insane speeds because they're just rocket jumping themselves around. Like my E2 M1 level, it probably takes almost a half an hour to play through it, or 11 seconds if you rocket jump. So yeah, it was crazy.
What were your initial thoughts when you discovered it?
The first thought was all the levels are broken. So, and it was like only really good people who know the levels could get through faster. So maybe it's a cool, speed running trick. And then it was just like, it's just an awesome trick in deathmatch. It's just something cool to do in a deathmatch to get away from people or to do anything you want. Like on several deathmatch maps, you want to get somewhere that normally you would have to go through teleporters or stairs, and you just like blast yourself up there really quick. And then we find out about the grenade rocket jump, where you like throw a grenade at a wall and then time it correctly so then it blows up and you're jumping on top of it and rocket jumping at the same time and going crazy distances. Then there's rocket jumping off of walls. So you rocket jump up and then off of a wall, so you do 2 rocket jumps. It's really nuts.
What do you think, and I think this answer, you've probably already answered this, but what are the biggest consequences of rocket jumping?
Well, you take damage, so you got to make sure that you have lots of health before you do that. But the consequences of rocket jumping are just taking advantage of physics in the game. It was totally emergent behavior because we didn't expect it, but that's the way the system works with physics, and it obeyed those those rules. But I guess it changed gaming forever. Probably, from putting that in there. Even, Doom had some rocket jumping, but it was really just rocket blasting yourself backwards. It wasn't like going up in the air. You couldn't aim down. But with Quake is the first game that you could do that. That changed everything. So everybody in Quake 2 was rocket jumping, then Quake 3, and people just do it in any game that has a rocket launcher now. You just rocket jump.
If you knew about rocket jumping before release, would you have changed certain aspects of the game and level design?
Yeah, definitely would have made it so you couldn't get through certain areas of the levels that we'd made. It would have been really interesting making those levels. Probably would have had a lot of walls that were high as the highest rocket jump that you could do, so you couldn't get above it. So levels would have been different. Like, for example, in Quake, when you're on the start map and you finish the first episode, there's a door that appears in front of the entrance to the slipgate that takes you to episode 1. Since you finished, there's no reason to go back in it, and there's a door in front of the entrance to that room that has a slipgate, except that door is not as high as the entire ceiling, so you could just rocket jump right over it and go back into the first episode again if you wanted to. So I would have changed that. I would have changed a lot of stuff if I knew about it.
Do you think that you would have kept it in the game?
Oh yeah, absolutely would have kept it. Yeah, I mean, we kept lots of little bugs that were in Doom 2 because they were really great, and if you're really good, you can use them. And with rocket jumping, it was like a more accessible, cool trick. It wasn't super, super hard to do. But it takes a lot of practice to do it and not lose a bunch of health. You gotta know exactly when to do the rocket jump, because even though you only jump a certain height off the ground, you want to be at the apex of the height of the jump to take the least amount of damage when you do your rocket jump.
Do you do it when you're deathmatch?
Yeah, you have to.